Hello everybody and welcome back to Bigger on the... wrong. On this week's show we talk about Stephen Moffat talking about Chris Chibnall. Chris Chibnall talks about the Doctor Who Christmas Special and the Centenary Special, and if Peter Capaldi really is finished with Doctor Who.
I'm the Doctor. I'm a Time Lord. I'm from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Casterbarus.
I hope the ears are a bit less conspicuous this time.
You might be a doctor, but I am.
I'm a doctor, but probably not the one you expect.
Absolutely fantastic.
All of time and space, everything that ever happened or ever will. Where do you want to start?
Hello everybody and welcome back to Bigger on the Inside, the New Who Doctor Who Watch Along podcast. I am Harry, joined as always by Tim. How are you, Tim?
Hello Harry, very well, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I've never been better. That said, I did just smash my knee up. We've also got some new recording software that's very distracting because it does the little wavelength things. It tells us what our voices
we don't know if we're being too quiet or too
Well, apparently,
loud.
if I go like this, when it goes like that's too loud.
The big chunky boys, we don't want that.
No,
we want the little modest.
Exactly, yeah.
That's what audio looks like. It looks like oopata boopata.
Oopada boopada.
Oopata boopata.
I'm slightly thrown because we've got the new audio software. We're all just staring at it.
Yeah, it's kind of that's the only thing we can talk about now. I think we should just do the.
Can I throw a t-shirt over it?
I guess I was going to suggest that we just change our podcast to a Audacity audio watch along, where we just watch our own audio and comment on it. So I really like the bit where I went boopity boopity and the wavelength did the thing.
There we go. Oh, hopefully that should be okay.
Yeah. So now we can talk about Doctor Who and shit.
Doctor Who news. Here we go. Woo!
Well, first of all,
don't stop. Won't stop.
Don't stop rocking. First of all, we just need to give a huge thanks to all of the views on last week's podcast. I believe that as of today, it has hit 1,000 views.
It's our most viewed podcast.
Yeah, as in terms of the regular podcast installments, which is kind of insane. I remember when like 100 views felt like a big deal.
Yes, yeah, I do, yeah. I don't know why it's got so many views, because it's nothing we haven't spoken about before. I'm just trying to have a look now.
I guess it's just because Doctor Who is on TV right now, so there's more interest in the show.
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't hope so. I hope it's us and our, charisma.
Oh, also, apologies to the Spotify and iTunes listeners, because I uploaded an hour and a half's audio, but there was nothing on it.
Oh.
So you couldn't actually hear anything. So I feel that's maybe why the YouTube one's got more views, because people...
Everyone are migrating to YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing, you know more about this, is something the Whovian Choice Awards.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Guys, we've been doing this for over a year now. We haven't made a single penny or won a single award. That's going to change, Harry.
It's going to change.
It's going to change because
the
Whovian Awards are a yearly Whovian Awards ceremony where YouTubers are nominated for awards. And I think we've said in the past that we're not YouTubers.
But we kind of are.
I know, but we don't cosplay, we don't dress up.
Yeah, but I think if you compare... I mean, we're not, up there with the big boys or anything, but...
Greasy Spoon.
Who's Greasy Spoon? Is that one of the...
big one.
Oh, okay. I only know, Mr. TARDIS and Whovian
Greasy
Chaser.
Spoon.
But, we're up there with those, but I feel like we're, the tier below, you know what I'm saying?
But we wanna win the award for Best Podcast, I think it's called.
Yeah.
It's also Best Host as well.
Oh, I didn't vote for Best Host.
Do us together, Tim and Harry, brackets Bigger on the Inside. The link's in the description. You fill that Google form out. You don't even have to fill the full thing out. As long as you put Bigger on the Inside as the very last option,
Cool.
you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Because we want to win. Nobody knows who we are. And quite frankly, I want to ruin the awards.
Why would that ruin... Would we have to, accept anything?
I think we'd have to pre-record a video.
Saying, thank you?
I'd get my arse out.
Oh. On camera?
On camera.
Would you get a camera and set it up just for that?
And I'd write, thanks, on my arse.
Oh.
I'll get you to write it.
I don't really want to write on your arse.
Alright, you can clean it off.
Please don't vote for us. Please.
This is the award content. This is it. This is the Clip Door show.
This is the clip?
Yeah.
Oh no. I feel like we should do and say something funny or interesting. Okay, we're gonna win.
Yeah. Oh, hello there. You've caught me in my local public library. I was just catching up on some of the mail and feedback we've been getting from some of our listeners. Let me read this one to you. Clickbait trash comes from Andrew Lawless again. We always love getting your mail, so keep sending it across in the comments, Twitter, and on Instagram, or even on our email. Anything else? Housekeeping to start with.
Yeah, well, now the next thing is we're going to jump into our... There's a bit more housekeeping, but do you want me to do these bits that you've put before?
Yeah, do it in order, yeah.
Yeah, so next up we're going to talk about the newest episode of Doctor Who Flux.
Once Upon a Time.
By Chris Chibnall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Oh, do you want me to go first?
Harry, what did you think of the episode Once Upon a Time?
Now, I'm going to first of all say I have no idea what any of the online discourse is for this episode. I don't know if people loved it, if people despised it, or I don't know what people are saying about this episode.
Would you like me to read the poll results out for the Twitter poll I put up?
I mean, you can do.
Okay,
I have no idea what people thought.
Go on then.
I'm just going to say that for me, I think that this is the best episode of Doctor Who that Chris Chibnall has ever written.
What? Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was really good. I really, really like this.
The best episode ever?
That Chris Chibnall has ever written.
I know, I heard that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's really good. I
To be
really
fair,
enjoyed it.
Who wrote Kablam? That wasn't
Chris Chibnall.
Oh, you're probably right then.
I really like this episode. I thought it was. Obviously, there was a similar thing. I wasn't expecting after things got a bit more manageable and more of a Sontarans for us to then go kind of even exceed how much stuff was going on in the first episode. With this, like a lot of stuff was going on. It was all our sequence, but by the end, I felt all pulled together. And I thought it was a really effective way of giving us kind of just background and context on these characters, giving us some clearing up stuff, giving us some new points of intrigue with the whole stuff with the Division and the Ravagers.
I am listening. I'm just going to close my window.
I just really like this episode and the way it was put together and structured, whilst unconventional, I found effective. Vinder's wife, I thought that was a cool character they introduced.
Did they call her his wife?
Well, I think Vinder refers to the fact that he has a wife in the episode.
My wife.
Yeah, he does that. He does the Borat voice because intergalactic pilot man Vinder has watched Borat.
Yeah, cool. I didn't really like it.
Did you not?
I enjoyed it, but it didn't keep my attention as much as previous episodes. I found myself halfway through on my phone. I even stood up halfway through to eat some popcorn.
Why do you think that was?
I didn't really... It was too sci-fi for me, which is strange, because I like a lot
Doctor
of
Who is...
But then, I love Back to the Future, but the necessary things I like about it are always the sci-fi stuff.
Yeah.
My favourite episodes of Doctor Who, I know your brother's the same, are the ones that are set on Earth.
Not necessarily. I guess so,
You've said it on the podcast.
Probably.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, and I just sort of couldn't see past the naff effects, really. I felt some of the green screen was really bad.
I think the stuff in the time storm, I can see that.
Is that where Jodie stood around floating with those big tall people?
Maury.
Yeah. I was just sort of like, it's not the great. And some of the dialogue was a bit flat. And I've noticed that, I think I've said that before about this series, there's a lot of the Doctor or companions having to explain what's going on, rather than just showing us. There's a lot of, I must now go here and do this thing to save such person. And I'm like, just go and do it.
I said, I didn't feel that.
Yeah, there is a scene where, I think it's the last time she gets blown away to wherever.
Okay, the scenes with the Maury and the 13th Doctor.
Yeah, where she's floating around and it's like the last time she's transported somewhere. She says a line and I'm like, you could have just showed us it rather than tell us it and then show us what you're going to do. That said, I did like to see Joe Martin return.
Yes, the Fugitive Doctor made a big return.
That was a nice surprise.
Yeah.
I thought it was just going to be that one little window cameo. But then they were like, no, she's in the full thing.
Yeah, in the whole scene.
I saw there's a behind the scenes video where Jodie says how she conducts herself differently
yes,
to represent
I saw that.
Like the way she stands and moves around and stuff is much more in tone with Joe Martin.
Yeah, it was very interesting to read that because I hadn't really thought that in depth about kind of the characterization choices that Jodie had made. And it was cool to kind of just get a little, as an actor, it was cool to get an insight into the level of thought that she was putting into all those aspects of the Doctor and all her tics and how she held herself.
Yeah, it was good. I'm trying to think. Yeah, no, I just sort of felt it was a bit, I don't know. I'm sure I was confused by it, but that wasn't the reason why I didn't like it. And I feel a lot of people get annoyed at Doctor Who because they don't understand it. They want answers straight away. Like, I spoke to somebody afterwards. I said, "Oh, what did you think?" And they were like, "Shit." I was like, "Oh, here we go." So I said, "Oh, why did you think that?" And they were like, "Well, it was really confusing." I'm like, "Well, not everything got answered, so that's why it's confusing."
We're halfway through the story.
Yeah, we're literally 3 episodes into a 6-episode series. I did a Twitter poll to say what episode the people enjoy the most, and I think it's level pegging between War of the Sontarans and Once Upon a Time.
Okay, that's
Let
interesting.
me have a look. Where is it?
Because
it is. Yeah.
You couldn't get kind of further apart in terms of storytelling.
No,
with
I did
those
do
two
it. I did do a
episodes.
Twitter poll. I said, "What did you make of tonight's episode?" 10% said they hated it. 22% said they were disappointed. 27% said they liked it. And 41% said they loved it.
So most people loved it.
Most people loved it,
But
but I
it
know
isn't-
earlier on in the series
yeah.
it was more defined that people... It seems to be leveling itself
There's
out.
a bit more division.
Yeah.
Not a ton, but it's creeping in.
Calvinista was back. What do you think's that cup of tea I've made you, by the way?
It's really lovely, thank you.
This one's really nice.
Yeah, it's a really nice cup of tea. Thank you,
It's
Tim.
very sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great to see Calvinista played by John Bishop.
I wonder if you watch it back, if you notice that John Bishop is also representing the mannerisms of Calvinista.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, the first time I was like, I kind of suspected he was Calvinista partway through when we saw the reflection of Joe Martin, but when he held up like the kind of crossbow thing, that basically confirmed it.
So that means that Joe Martin once travelled with Calvinista?
Well, yeah, she was once part of that group called The Division, which is that thing which was hinted at in The Timeless Children.
So who do you think the other two
I'm not sure of.
Do you think one of them is it Glenn? Who was her human companion when we first met her in A Fugitive to Dune? She had a husband who was living with her. Do you remember him?
I thought that was just all part of kind of her disguise to keep hidden.
He knew who she was though, didn't she?
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Right, I mean, maybe, yeah. I mean, I don't know if we'll get any more insight into it. I'm assuming, because this is Chibnall's last series, that he will want to answer everything he set up.
Yeah.
So I imagine we will get those answers by the end.
Yeah, I feel like I should have watched it again. I know it was a different director for this episode.
It was.
It wasn't Jeremy Magnus Strong.
Yeah.
It wasn't him. It was somebody else. I think maybe that's what threw me a little
That
bit.
it felt a bit different.
Yeah, maybe. Because I know, like, I liked the ending when the aliens have the TARDIS.
The angels, yeah.
Angels have the TARDIS rather than the angels have the phone box. But then there was some of that where I was like, why have they decided to tell such and such to act in that way? It seemed a bit strange. Like, there's a scene where... Well, I'll tell you what I didn't like is the fact that angels are now coming out of TV screens and iPhones.
That was established in the second Weeping Angel story.
Was it?
Yeah, the whole thing of an image of an angel becomes an angel.
I know, but I'm like, mobile phones again. I feel like it's such old hack to be like scared of technology sort of thing.
I don't think that's what it's going for.
I
It's
know,
just kind
but
of
I feel like
using what's
it's-
already been established by Moffat.
That's true, but I sort of feel like it's a bit... We've seen it, and I feel like there's more interesting ways of doing that.
Well, I expect in next week's episode that's
Next
what
week's
we'll
looks
see.
really fun.
The Village of the Angels.
It looks very Human Nature-esque, very Paul Cornell, and that leads me on to think there's a deliberate I think there's a clickbait line in that trailer
about the Scarecrow.
Yeah, where John Bishop said, "Did that Scarecrow just move?" And I don't think we're going to see the return of the Scarecrows.
No, I think that's...
Or the Family of Blood or whatever.
I believe that's going to be a Weeping Angel disguised as a Scarecrow in some form. Because, I mean, I'm hoping, and I know Moffat's hoping, which we'll get to later, that they kind of extend the whole thing of the angels. Because I remember at the end of Blink, there was this whole like montage of loads of different statues suggesting that every statue could be a weeping angel.
Yeah.
And it seems weird that Moffat never followed up on that in his subsequent stories.
Sorry, go on.
I'm just saying to see kind of more things than just the angels we're used to angels.
There's a slight redesign on the angels as well. Only slight, and I think that might be more down to the fact that they're now using a different prosthetics company.
Okay.
Since it came back, they were using Millennium FX. But now they're not. They're using a different company, which I also think maybe led to why the Sontarans look different and all that. Because this is the first series where that's happened.
I mean, I'm assuming it's just because Moffat took all the angels home with him when he quit. Because we know he has an angel in his back garden.
He does, doesn't he? I was thinking if I went around to Stephen Moffat's house, for whatever reason, I'd be like, Do you think everybody who goes around is like,
where's the angel?
Can I get a photo with you and the angel?
It's like Russell has a Dalek, doesn't he?
He does, but it's all like beaten up and dishevelled. And David Tennant's got like his little shed that's painted like a TARDIS, I think, or something. So yeah,
it's just kind of thing like if you've worked on it for a significant
Matt
period.
Smith's got his cool London flat. It's got no nerd shit at all.
I'm far too cool for Doctor Who.
I always like it because whenever you see like those things over lockdown, whether it was Jodie, and she's got like the big dorky headphones on, and David's got all his mattresses around him, and then Matt's just like sat in his big luxury apartment, like, yeah, what up?
Hey, gonna watch House of Dragons?
Yeah. And I think there was one point where he spun the camera around. He's like, "There's a Cyberman head up there," but that's it.
Oh yeah, because in his last episode there was that Cyberman head.
I think Jenna's got like a full TARDIS panel.
Really?
Yeah, she's got like a full thing.
I'm gonna put Jenna down as someone who,
I think they gave her it. I don't think she's like, "Can I have that?"
Whereas someone like Alex Kingston, I could see being like, "Could I have that?"
I always think if I was a Doctor, I'd deliberately steal something.
Everyone does.
If I was a one episode, what would you steal? You'd want to steal something cool like a Sonic. But there's no way
you wouldn't get away with a Sonic.
I reckon I could get away with it.
I'd try and get like a clothing item from someone, like maybe like one of the Master's spare ties or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I reckon do you think if you just went in with a toy of the Sonic and just put it down next to the actual one and took the actual one, how long would it be before people notice?
I feel like they must have like a different weight to them.
Oh yeah, I imagine, yeah.
I feel like as soon as the Doctor picked it up, they'd be like, wait, this isn't the Sonic.
Yeah. I like the way you say the Doctor. Instead of Jodie.
Well, because we're talking about like in the future, it won't be Jodie as the Doctor when you work on it.
Yeah. Anything else? Anything else you want to say about this episode?
Nothing.
I'm really looking forward to next week.
Yeah.
We now know every episode title, apart from the final one.
Yes, we now know the name of Chapter 5, Survivors of the Flux. With the description, as the forces of evil mass, the Doctor, Yaz and Dan face the perilous journeys and seemingly insurmountable obstacles in their quest for survival. Ooh, another vague one. It's interesting. It seems that kind of every odd episode is really Flux focused.
Everyone's an alien, isn't it?
Yeah, so we have like Flux, Sontarans, Flux, Angels, but then it's going to be back-to-back Flux stuff, I'm guessing.
Well, who hasn't returned that we know is returning? The Ood.
The Ood, yeah.
We had a few Daleks in the last episode as well.
Yeah, but I feel like that's kind of filling that Terry Nation quota, if that's a real thing.
I don't think it can't be because we haven't had that in previous...
That's true. But now, well, then we had Revelation and Revolution.
Yeah, but you get those at Christmas and we'll get a Christmas one this year.
Yeah.
Not Christmas, New Year.
Yeah.
So
I'm thinking that's the only time we're going to see the Daleks this series.
I think we'll see them New Year.
Okay.
Which we'll get to.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah.
Next up, we have our live subscriber count.
Oh, yeah, we've been doing this every week.
Yes, we've done it for the last 2 weeks.
Because what did we say last week? We said we were... No, the week before we were at 6:15.
Yeah.
What did we say last... No, last week we were at 6:15.
And you said, let's get to 6:20.
And we're at 660 at the moment.
Yeah.
So... That blew out the water, so thanks everybody.
I think we can be a bit more ambitious.
But I don't like being too ambitious.
I don't want to say 700.
No.
What do you think 680 is too...
675.
675. 15 subscribers.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's attainable. That sounds...
we might be able to do that.
Yeah, that sounds very realistic.
Anything else before we get on to the news? Oh, the Paul Hayes interview. That's right. I spoke to Paul Hayes, who is author of The Long Game, the story of how the BBC brought back Doctor Who. It's a really interesting book. He sent me a PDF copy and I have read it. It's very, very good. It's basically all about how the BBC brought back Doctor Who. It's actually really interesting because there's a lot of fan discussion in there about like the part that really stuck out to me, and I spoke to Paul about it a lot, is the rights to Doctor Who. And I don't know if you listened to it.
I've listened to bits and bobs.
Yeah, it's basically like maybe when they did the TV movie, did they sell the rights off and all that. So it was all very interesting, and about how Russell became involved in the series as well. And that's that. It's only like 25 minutes. It's a good little chat. Yeah.
So does it cover the whole Wilderness years then, or just kind of when Russell started bringing it back?
The bit we focus on the interview is more to do with bringing the show back, like the right stuff. That's what I found most interesting. But there's a lot of like the thing of trying to get it back on the air and the fan push and stuff like that.
And here I was thinking The Long Game was an episode from 2005
written
by Russell T.
Why
Davies.
did he pick such a terrible episode of Doctor Who today, but it also works, the long game.
It makes a lot of sense,
It does,
yeah.
yeah.
I like the title.
Let's carry on. Very chill. Should we explain? Normally we record these usually about 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Evening time. We started recording about 11 o'clock-ish.
Yeah, and this was... I always prefer when we record in the morning.
I don't.
Do you not?
I don't like getting up this early to talk about Doctor Who.
There are other things that you want to put before Doctor Who in your
Usually
day.
a bit more sleep.
Right.
Normally, well, okay, for those who don't know, I do nightlife photography, so normally I get in at about 4 a.m. and then get up about lunchtime. So getting up at whatever time I had to get up today, 9 o'clock in the morning, was god-awful. Just to come and talk to you.
About Doctor Who.
Not you, listeners.
To me.
To Harry.
I'm the burden.
Let's do some news.
Yes. First off, we have a New Year's special synopsis.
Oh, we're not doing the news yet. We're doing this.
Is that not...
Is this part of the news?
Yeah, this is part of the news.
Ding dong! The news.
Is that our little...
Ding dong, ding dong.
Ding dong, ding dong. We have the Doctor Who New Year's special synopsis. Some serious...
It's not really a synopsis, it's more of a Radio Times write-up, what they've sort of
Oh,
changed.
okay. Then why did you write
I
synopsis?
couldn't think of the word.
Okay. Well, anyway, this is what it says. Some serious star power turns up the wattage for the Time Lord's New Year special, with Aisling Bea and Pauline McLean among the cast. A regular visitor sees something extremely irregular going on at the Elf storage unit. Someone call the Doctor.
That's New Year, but it clearly says Elf.
Yeah, which makes me that makes me immediately think Christmas special.
But we know it's New Year because it was listed as New Year's Day on Radio Times.
Yeah.
Or TV Times or whatever.
Do you find it weird that Chibnall hasn't written a Christmas special during his whole tenure?
Not really, because the Christmas elements of the Christmas specials aren't really the best bit.
Do you not enjoy,
I'm not like-
Robo Santa and spinning Christmas trees of death
But you know what I mean?
and Michael Gambon
And it's so Christmassy, Michael Campbell.
and
Catherine
superheroes?
But you know what I mean? Like, the Christmas element of it, it's more the fact that it's a seasonal time of year and you're just getting a nice episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Jodie gets to wear a scarf.
She gets to wear that...
What, do you not like the scarf?
I do, but I just reminded me of how much I didn't like that first special.
Did you not like Revolution?
There were so many characters. There's that one scene where the TARDIS opens, about 8 people walk out of it. I'm like, this is not good.
Do you not think that many people should be in a TARDIS?
Well, there's a Dr. Ryan, Yaz, Graham, Ryan's dad, and 2 others.
And that's why you hated Journey's End so much.
But that works because you've got to know all the characters. These are just people you've met in that one episode.
I jest.
Just wasn't very good.
The Dalek was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sort of apocalyptic Dalek thing.
Yeah.
And then followed up by an even better Dalek in the next special.
There were a
And
lot
then
of
this
Daleks.
time we're obviously going to get Davros, I hope.
It
says, what does it say? Returning...
A regular visitor sees something extremely irregular going on at the Elf storage unit.
Okay, is that Santa? Is Nick Frost back?
Nick Frost wasn't the real Santa though.
But he was Santa.
But he was a dream Santa. He was all a dream. It didn't confirm whether or not Santa was real in Doctor Who
Well,
universe.
there we go. So he could come back.
Okay. Would you be up for Nick, of all the stars to return, Nick Frost as
Hell
Santa
yeah,
Claus?
I love Nick Frost.
Yeah.
Would you rather have Nick Frost or Simon Pegg return as their respective characters?
As their respective characters, Simon Pegg was in the long game. Nick Frost. I mean, I actually have not watched that Christmas special for a long time.
I haven't, but
so
I remember
can't.
very much liking Nick Frost.
I mean, I always like Nick Frost. He's a
Yeah.
very funny guy.
But do you think a regular visitor, is that Santa or is it the Daleks?
Well, I'm guessing it's going to be a monster.
So regular would apply Daleks.
Maybe.
I mean, we know the Daleks back. We saw the leaked
Yeah.
photos, and Nicholas Briggs was there. And
Yeah. I'm assuming that this New Year's special will be the last time we see the Daleks with Jodie.
possibly, unless they're going to appear in
The Centenary
the
special.
Centenary Special.
Yeah.
But we sort of know the Masters in the Centenary Special.
Yeah.
Because that guy stood outside with that box that said the Masters props on it.
Have we ever had a Master Dalek team up?
We haven't, and that's what I've been saying. That's what I want for the 60th.
Well, they could do that.
There we go.
Oh, for the 60th rather than the Centenary.
I'd like to see it for the 60th. I've always thought that'd be really cool. I mean, I've got the story already planned out. I won't go into it now. I'll save it.
Tim's actually writing the 60th. He's a ghostwriter for Russell T Davies.
Russell's actually really lazy.
No.
Yeah, I do it all for him. Yeah, but no, I've got that idea.
Right. So next up, we have some news about how Doctor Who is moving studios. And this is more interesting than it sounds. Don't worry, I promise.
Go on then.
So, in an interview with Business Live, Bad Wolf director Natasha Hale stated that Doctor Who production will move out of Rothlock and into another studio complex in Cardiff.
I've been to Rothlock, been inside it.
Rothlock, I remember during it, they moved to Rothlock partway through the Matt Smith era.
That's why he gets a new TARDIS.
Right, okay, the new TARDIS was for the Rothlock studio.
Because they couldn't move the TARDIS that they currently had.
So they just completely redesigned it.
Yeah.
So it was for that halfway through Series 7. Did it. And I know that they've been filming in Rothlock for all of Capaldi and all of the Chibnall era.
Yeah,
right?
because when I went, I went and they showed us around the studio. We went on what was then Matt Smith's TARDIS.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. It was all green. So we went on Matt Smith's TARDIS, and it's really cool. It's a shame that that's not going to be a thing anymore. That was the best thing about the Doctor Who experience, is you could actually go on the TARDIS.
I'm trying to see where...
It's just up the road.
What's that?
They're just moving up the road.
Yeah, but I'm trying to see the name of the studio. I'm not sure, but I do know...
Is it already a studio, or is it what?
It's an existing studio, because it was where I think it's one that Bad Wolf Productions likes using, because it's the studio they used for
Pearl Bear thing.
For his Dark Materials.
That's it,
yeah. And it's kind of, I think it's like a significantly big studio. Like it has like, especially I know there's one especially big studio lot in there that they can do really huge stuff on, like kind of comparable to Ealing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I think that means, if this means what I think it means, that
cool TARDIS.
Well, yeah, if they decide to use that in that set for the TARDIS, they might choose to use a smaller set for the TARDIS and that for really big set pieces. Either way, the scale of Doctor Who is going to have a notable increase.
I'd really like a TARDIS set where instead of, because like, I only know this because I was there, but like Matt Smith's TARDIS, both of them, they've got like the alleyways and doors. But if you actually go down them, they just go to nowhere.
Yeah, so you'd like an intricate
maybe if they
TARDIS
did like a full proper set, that would
with
be cool.
loads of rooms.
Yeah, because then you could do like cool Spielberg wanners, where like a character comes in and you see them walking around the whole TARDIS and it's all connected. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, that'd be really neat to see a TARDIS that was more than just one central console room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the central console room, and I think that's where all the action should happen.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that you could walk around it.
So, like, I think one of my favourite TARDIS sets in terms of just like the dynamics of the space was probably Matt Smith's first TARDIS, because he had kind of the stairway leading up to the main console unit, and you had a bit below and a bit above.
I've been on that TARDIS as well.
Yeah, that one to me is really cool. Obviously, I have loads of nostalgia for the Russell era TARDIS.
I've been on that TARDIS as well.
Yeah. Have you been on? How many TARDISes have you been on?
I've been on Tennant Eccleston, Smith's first one, Smith's second one, and then I've seen the Adventure in Space and Time one, and I've seen the Five Doctors one, whatever one was in Blackpool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which is like the classic,
I think
kind
it's
of 80s era.
Yeah, I think
set.
it's a Baker one, Tom Baker.
Okay, cool. Well, I think kind of from kind of late Baker through to McCoy, it was pretty much the exact same set, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was cool though, because I always wanted to go on the TARDIS as a kid, especially Tennant's. And then I went around the corner, it was there. I was like,
and when was it like? I'm assuming that it was like it was in the show, like half.
Yeah, so it's half. It's basically half. So you have the half of the TARDIS that you see as like a sitcom, but obviously they don't have the full dome.
Yes,
because it's inside a smaller room.
Yeah.
So basically, with the coral pillars, you know the part where they sort of separate and go to two.
Yes.
Where it goes to two, it then cuts off. So it's basically you only have up to the top of the console.
Right.
So you have the time rotor, you have the thing on the top, and then it stops.
Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah, because I know that it's
what you see in the 50th.
Yes. Yeah, I've heard about that, because I know that it's only Jodie's TARDIS is the only TARDIS that is a full 360.
Yeah.
Well, as well
Matt
as
Smith's was the second Matt Smith one was 360.
was that 360?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Neato.
Yeah. Cool.
Actually, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, big change coming to the production of the show. I mean, I guess that's to be expected. I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to see how it looks. The next bit of news is a bit about the actor Benedict Wong. This is literally this is a Twitter interaction.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Where
It's a bit of fun.
Yeah, Benedict Wong, best known as playing
Prime in the IT Crowd's Countdown episode.
Oh.
He's the one he's like the elusive one who wears the glasses.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Is he a British actor then, Benedict Wong?
He's been in British stuff. I don't know if he's a British actor. I don't know where he's from.
Because I mainly know him from Doctor Strange, being Doctor Strange's friend.
Does he play someone called Wong in Doctor Strange?
He plays...
Is he called Wong? I think he is.
Yes, he does play Wong.
Yeah.
They're like, what do we call this guy? And they're like, hey guys, I called Benedict Wong. That's it.
Yeah.
And then they called him Benedict.
Didn't someone just ask him on Twitter, would you like to be Doctor Who?
Yes.
And he said, you just touched my knee.
I'm sorry, Tim.
And he said only if it was a movie.
If it was a young adult movie.
Yeah, that's
which
interesting.
is very interesting.
So like a Harry Potter thing, that sort of age?
I guess sort of all like MCU style.
Yeah.
Which is a very out there request that he'd play a Doctor in that specific scenario.
How many actors out there do you think would like to play Doctor Who, but they would only do it if it was a movie?
And I guess all the bigger name ones.
Johnny Depp.
I can't see Johnny Depp wanting to play the Doctor.
Well, we might have a video about that on the way.
Might we?
Yeah.
Really?
You're not involved in it.
Oh.
You might be. I'll discuss it with you.
Okay. I have no idea what that is.
Yeah. Cool. I don't necessarily think he would make a great Doctor, but also
why not?
Also at the same time, I don't think he would make a bad Doctor.
No,
he's just a guy who I think could do it.
Yeah, he's a guy. He's a very talented actor. I think everyone who works in the MCU is an incredibly talented actor.
Dave Bautista.
Yeah, he's a talented actor.
Do you think he could play Doctor Who?
No. That's not really his casting.
Do you think
type.
he could play a film in which he plays a character who's a bit like The Rock, but he's like a spy with a little girl?
What was that film called? Was that called My Spy or something?
Something like that, isn't it?
I don't know. I didn't see it. I wasn't the target demographic. It looks funny enough.
Carry on.
What about Chris Pratt, the Doctor?
Oh God! There's the thumbnail.
Whoa! I'm the Doctor.
God awful.
Got a screwdriver.
I don't understand Chris Pratt. Why do people keep casting him and stuff? Do you think he's getting?
Because he's
James
so
Corden syndrome.
He's so cool. He's so cool. But Shigeru Miyamoto said he was so cool.
Who?
When they announced the casting for the Mario movie, the creator of Mario, Shigeru Miyamoto, introduced him, and they said, "First up, we've got Chris Pratt as Mario. He's so cool."
Maybe we should talk about Mario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should get Mario as the Doctor. I mean, Mario is a Doctor.
Doctor of Plumbing.
No, the Doctor Mario games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't play video games.
No. Did you not play a lot of Mario growing up?
I played Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Super Mario.
Yeah. Which Super Mario?
I don't know.
There's a lot of Super
Kingdom?
Marios. There is no game called Super Mario Kingdom.
Let me have a look. You talk about the next bit of news and I'll have a look at what...
No, I just want to keep talking about Mario.
I know, but I need to have a look, Harry.
Okay. But anyway, the next news is about David Tennant. What's he doing talking about Doctor Who?
What's this?
David Tennant talking to Russell T Davies returning.
Oh, yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yes. So, speaking of Digital Spy, he was mainly promoting Around the World in 80 Days.
New Super Mario Bros. DS.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
David Tennant. He said, "I'm so thrilled that Russell is coming back to it, and I can see where he's going to take that story. There isn't a Doctor Who brain like his in the country, on the planet, in the universe."
That sounds nothing like David.
It's just my Edinburgh accent.
But he's Glaswegian.
I can't do a Glaswegian accent.
Well, don't do any. Do Ringo Starr.
"I'm so thrilled that Russell is coming back to it, and to see where he's going to take that story. There isn't a Doctor Who brain like his in the country, on the planet, in the universe. So as a fan of the show, to know where that's going to go next is hugely exciting."
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and
Do you think he'll come back if asked?
he said he'll never say never. Also, this article is from the 14th of October.
It's quite old, isn't it?
Yeah, why are we only talking about it now?
We didn't talk about it during the week of the 14th of October.
Okay,
I
so...
didn't see nobody else do either.
Well, I guess it went without saying that David would be excited to see Russell come back.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say. It's a bit of fun.
If he's asked to come back, he'll probably say yes.
Yeah.
Because David Tennant loves Doctor Who.
I'd like to see him come back.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the 60th last night.
Yeah.
I was thinking, what are they going to do? Because maybe Capaldi's not coming back, as we'll talk about in a minute. Jodie, probably there's no point in her coming back straight away.
Yeah.
One episode later. David will come back. Matt probably will come back. But then you're just
If they pay him enough.
But then they're just doing the 50th again. So it's like, what do you do to try and separate?
Make it fresh and funky.
Yeah.
And hip and swag.
Yeah. We'll wait and see. I think you focus more on side characters.
Yeah.
You bring back maybe some cool companions like Ace, K9, Martha. Did you hear the Martha Jones trailer?
The Martha is that a
For
big finish?
I'm going to cover the thing up because I took the t-shirt off the screen to try and see what the audio. And ever since I've taken it off, Harry's now distracted again.
I'm easily distracted by things.
There you go. Now you can't see it.
Okay, thank you, Tim.
Yeah, it was a Big Finish audio thing.
Okay, it's interesting. Remember when there was no Doctor Who news and we had to talk about Big Finish?
Every week.
Not it is bad, Big Finish, but it's like...
It was a televised Doctor Who news.
Yeah, because we were the New Who Doctor Who Watch Along podcast, so we like to focus on the New Who stuff.
What up, computer geeks? It's Tim here, and I'm currently sat in the tech hub of Bigger on the Inside. The guys and gals who work down here want me to tell you how you can contact the show anytime. You can do it by Instagram and Twitter. Just follow us by searching for @BiggerOnThePod. If that's not good enough for you, how about sending us an email? BiggerOnTheInsidePod@gmail.com. Yeah, no, I do remember, and I listened to the trailer, and I don't really know what to think.
Is it Martha Jones going on adventures?
Yeah, but like, it didn't sound like Martha.
It was Freema, wasn't it?
It was, but it didn't sound like... It took me a few... Like, say like the trailer's like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It took me like 20 seconds to realise which character was Martha.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh, that's Martha, and that felt weird, but like... I don't know. I don't know what to think of it. I'm sure it'll be very good. I'm sure the writing's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I'm sure once you listen to it, like anything, you'll settle into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I
just thought the trailer was a bit...
Is this Freema's first time doing Big Finish?
No.
Okay.
It's first time in a while.
It's weird that she's not done anything with David for Big Finish.
Yeah, Billy has, Catherine has.
Freema hasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, it'll probably happen eventually, won't it? I won't be surprised if at some point they do something with like David and all three of his companions.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it would work with Rose, but I can see them doing something timey-wimey.
Well, because the Doctor, Donna, and Martha have all met before.
Yeah.
So I suppose you could set it around that time.
Yeah.
And maybe just have the TARDIS hallucinating and maybe get a little Billy cameo.
Yeah.
I'll have to wait and see.
It'd be cool. It would make for a cool cover.
You've got your arm on the protective foaming.
Is that we have new foaming.
You probably can't tell.
I think it's gonna sound like the audio is gonna sound like mwah. Chef's kiss.
It works better if you talk in a lower tone like this. You really reduce most of the echo. But I like sitting back in the chair.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Harry had his elbow on the foam that I just spent some money on.
It goes back into place.
It does, but I don't know how often it does go back into place.
Okay, I'm going to permanently dent it.
Yeah.
Right, so next up we have Stephen Moffat.
Who?
Stephen Moffat.
Never heard of him. Tell me about him.
He's a guy, he does some writing for TV. He wrote that TV show Coupling.
Oh, yeah, his best
and
one.
that Netflix show, Dracula thing with Mark Gatiss. And
that's the only time I've ever really hated my mum.
Why?
Because she said that series got better as it went along. She said episode 3 was the best of all 3. And I said, you are so wrong, it's unbelievable. Yeah.
Episode 1 was very fun.
The whole series should have been episode 1.
Well, it was best when it was faithful-ish. It was following the story.
I've seen Dracula with an iPad. What the fuck?
What if that? It's like that modern Seinfeld thing. What if Dracula modern day? Dracula get iPad?
Yeah.
Was it Dracula with an iPad? It was Dracula. I just remember the scene of Dracula. To be fair, I actually enjoyed the stuff of Dracula interacting with modern technology.
Oh, God.
Now, I like that scene.
I hate it when text messages appear on screen.
That's a
So
trope.
lazy. Just have them phone each other. But
No one
today don't phone each other.
We don't phone each other.
But then Dracula's out real.
Dracula's out. You mean vampires?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dracula himself is definitely real.
Oh, sorry, carry on.
Yeah. It's based on true events.
So, I just got to say though, that whole series, the first episode was there's 3 different versions of Dracula, and that he ages very quickly. In that first episode.
Yeah.
I think the whole series should have been him aging, and eventually in the last episode you get to the handsome man.
Okay.
So episode 1 would have been this old grisly, beaten to shit old dude.
Yeah.
And then throughout the two remaining.
So we'd have just dragged out that first episode into 3 episodes.
I feel like that was more of an interesting idea. You could have really.
But maybe it would have exhausted itself if you used it for 3 whole episodes.
No, so you would have introduced other characters and stuff rather than putting him in a film washing up on Whitby. I did like that. The fact that you saw Whitby, which is near where we live.
I like Whitby.
Have you gone up all the steps?
Yes.
How many are there?
I didn't count.
Close to 100, I think.
Is there?
Go on.
But anyway, Mark Gatiss. No, Stephen Moffat. Doctor Who. So basically, this is a very interesting interview where he says a lot of stuff about Doctor Who. The first thing about his relationship to Chris Chibnall.
Brothers. They were brothers all along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone
was
who
a Palpatine.
Everyone who works on Doctor Who is related. We know this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, he says, I send Chris an apology if I can't turn it on live. If I have to watch it later, as I did this week, he confessed. Ooh, imagine not watching Doctor Who live.
I watched it live this week.
I actually did watch it live as well. Yeah.
I do. If I'm in, I will try and watch it live. I catch the last 10 minutes of Country File, and then I see Doctor Who. I mean, that's rubbish. I know we spoke about it last week, but in what world are we living in where Doctor Who's predecessor is Country File? It should be Country File strictly Doctor Who.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
He was asked about what he's thinking of Flux, and he says, I think it's great. It's really interesting that Chris is doing it long form because he's a real master of long form. I wondered when I handed it over to him because I was starting to fret in terms of Doctor Who because everything in television is now very much more in the form of an uncompromising serial. Line of Duty makes no concession to the fact that you might have a scaled memory. You were supposed to know what's going on, and I thought maybe Doctor Who should be moving in that direction, but I wasn't sure, so I'm really, really interested and excited that Chris is pushing it that way. That's really interesting. It gets us more cliffhangers as well, and Doctor Who is very good at cliffhangers.
What are all these white stains on my t-shirt? Have they been there all day?
I think I wasn't really looking at your t-shirt,
Chris.
Chris.
Well, they're coming off. So they just got out the wash.
Sorry. Is that you having nothing to say about Moffat's comments?
I didn't keep saying again. Wasn't listening.
Okay, you might want to cut out one of these.
No, we'll leave it in.
You're going to include me.
What did he say? Summarise it.
He thinks it's really cool and interesting that Chris is doing a really long form.
Yeah, sorry,
story.
no, I did hear.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Doctor Who is, and that's how it works best.
Yeah.
That's what he did.
Well, no, because when he did it, it was still much more episodic, lots of individual episodes, whereas Flux is one big 6-part series.
That's true.
Yeah. And I think that's good. I remember saying this before we got Flux on TV, I thought this would play to Chibnall's strengths, because he is good at long-form storytelling, stuff like Broadchurch.
Why has it taken him 2 seasons to realise that?
I'm not sure. It is very interesting that he started doing 10 standalone stories, and it's only now that he's moving to this. In a way, it's kind of...
People seem to be really enjoying it. It seems like the most popular series.
This is definitely my favourite series that Chris has done. I don't know. It's interesting that he kind of started in such a radically different place and it took him this long to get to here. But I'm happy that he's here now and kind of...
Bummed out it's the last one.
Yeah, it's if we started with this...
I noticed with Moffat, though, that Moffat's last series of each Doctor was usually their best.
Do you like Series 7?
What was Series 7?
Matt Smith, Jenna Coleman.
Yeah, I liked it, yeah.
Okay. More so than Series 5?
It's where I came back.
Oh, right, because of the 50th.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. He's also asked about what he thinks they should do with the Weeping Angels.
Stick them up my ass, he said.
He actually said that he's horrified by the suggestion that Doctor Who might remain faithful to his creation, saying, every time you bring back a Doctor Who monster, you should be slightly irreverent with it. You shouldn't stick to all the rules. You should break a few. That's the way it works. Otherwise, you're just erecting a monument to the past, and that doesn't work.
Monument.
Best of 2021.
Yep.
Right there. Anyway, within Doctor Who, there's a dynamic balance between being respectful and being iconoclastic, really. I don't know what that word means. Saying, yeah, but what if we did it this way? Or just doing something cheeky with it. If you don't do
Weeping
that...
Angel gets its ass out. Like, blinking Doctor, I can't stop blinking. And just, the Weeping Angel slowly turns
It's
around.
twerking.
Flashes its ass and walks off.
If you don't do that, it doesn't really feel like Doctor Who. It's respectful and graceful and important, which are tedious qualities that should never get involved in Doctor Who.
That's true. Maybe that's why the Daleks were quite good when we saw the redesign, because we were like, oh, it's so a little different, but also good.
Yeah.
I think a lot of showrunners are maybe scared of ruining it.
Yeah. And you can't be, because I think the minute that you, like Moffat said, hold Doctor Who up as this big, grandeur, important thing, you lose the fun.
Yeah.
You lose the excitement if you treat it as sacred, holy gospel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's lots of things that haven't returned. I always wonder when they will return.
Like what?
Sea Devils.
Ah, yeah.
Those golden people.
Golden people?
Yeah, they're like a John Pertwee one.
Oh,
What
okay.
they're called. Some other stuff as well. That would be cool if that.
There's a lot of classic monsters that are overdue return.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we get stuff like the Silurians that are just really boring.
Oh, yeah, the
And
Silurians,
I'm
yeah.
like, oh, why are they back again? But they haven't been back in a while.
They haven't been back since, I think, Series 8.
No, but when we do our Series 5 videos, there's like 2 Silurian episodes.
Written by Chris Chibnall.
Yes, that'd be fun.
And basically, there's another bit where they ask if Moffat would return to the show, and he basically said no.
Oh, really?
Well, basically because he just said that at the time when he was working on Doctor Who.
Does he say a showrunner?
Not as showrunner, just whether he'd return to the show.
That's interesting.
But it honestly, when it got to that bit, he was talking mostly about Sherlock and not Doctor Who, because he was working on both of them at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if Russell asked him to write an episode...
I feel like if Russell asked Stephen to write an episode, he would say yes in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
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 I'd like to see Moffat return. I'd like to see Moffat, Cornell, and a few new Who writers. Newer Who writers return.
Newer Who. Do you think we're going to get that? Like, eventually we're going to have to distinguish
Classic
between...
New Who.
Classic Who, New Who, Newer Who.
No, it'll be Classic Who, Classic New Who, New Who.
I feel like they'll think of a different name for Classic New Who. Look like Millennium Who or something.
Oh, God.
I don't know.
I don't know.
If that becomes a name...
RTD Who.
I mean, maybe we'll just start distinguishing it by eras, but then will we have to go back and call the Nathan Turner era and stuff in Classic Who?
GNT,
Yeah.
JNT.
I mean, some people do just call it J&T era.
Those
That
people-
period.
Those people don't speak to girls, Harry.
Girls? Do girls watch 80s Doctor Who? Anyway,
That's a bit of news. Let's end on a positive.
we have a couple bits of
Oh, do we?
news.
Oh.
Yeah, and the last one isn't a positive.
Oh.
So do you want me to do that first?
No, we'll do that last.
Okay, next up is Chris Chibnall talking about the Doctor Who specials, primarily the Centenary. Here he
I
said...
hope it's got a cool title worked out for it. You know, like a title that's going to make me go, wow.
He doesn't have a title yet. He's just calling... So currently, the working title is the Centenary Special. But basically, all shooting has wrapped on Chris's era, and they are currently in post-production of the Centenary Special. He said, it's a great feeling when you finish everything in studio, but in some ways, things actually get busier from that point, because all the stuff in post-production has been waiting for you. It's like another show on top of the show you first did. We won't actually be finished until we picture what we're currently calling the Centenary Special. And he revealed that the scoring and CG work on last episode is yet to be completed. He did reveal, though, that the last scene Jodie shot was the 13th Doctor Regeneration scene, making her
That's
official exit from the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because shortly we're going to be talking about the End of Time Part 2.
Yes.
And Tennant's regeneration wasn't the last thing that they filmed.
Okay.
Which we'll get to when we get to that bit. Yeah. But it's interesting that Jodie's actual last scene that she ever filmed was her regeneration.
I think that will probably lend something to the performance,
Yeah.
like the fact that that's her last scene that she's shooting.
Yeah.
That's her last time being a doctor in that costume for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously she'll probably come back.
I was going to say, how long do you think it's going to be from that episode airing before she's started to be asked about the 60th?
I'm not sure. And it's interesting to think now because the 50th.
It'll be a year.
Yeah, because the 50th was that 3 or 4 years after David Tennant left.
Tennant left January the 1st, 2010.
Okay.
So 3 years.
Yeah, and so it's been well over 3 years since like Capaldi left, and yet Capaldi's showing no signs of coming back.
Should we talk about that?
Yes! I didn't even intend for that to be a lead-in, but it is.
Let me do a funny thing. I mean, yeah, so Capaldi, it's been 3 years. I'm sure he's got the same mindset as David Tennant. They were both Doctor Who kids, and they both loved Doctor Who.
About that, Tim. In a recent interview, he said he should just talk about kind of his experience playing a Doctor, saying, "I wanted to be a more distant and alien."
I hate these impressions.
Clara.
The only one I like is Eccleston and Ringo Starr.
Clara, I wanted to be a more distant and alien Doctor. Do you want me to do it?
No, so I can't understand what you're saying.
I wanted to be a more distant and alien Doctor because that's how I remember William Hartnell being a kid in Glasgow on dark winter nights when this strange figure with the white hair and slightly irate voice would open this portal to a magical world.
Yes, that's my William Hartnell impression.
Me boy.
Oh yes.
Smack
yes.
bottom. Anyway, the default now is a kind of cosmic imp, which is great, but I wanted to touch the darker winter nights. I'm not sure whether the brand supports that anymore, but that's what I was interested in.
Yeah, because I remember when he was cast, everyone was like, "Oh, a darker Doctor, it's going to be cool." And then almost by the end of his first series, he was...
Yeah. Well, the Series 8, he was kind of going for that darker thing.
He was, wasn't he? He was, am I a good man?
Yeah. But then by
Probably.
by Series 10, it was a complete character transformation to this kind of like friendly college professor.
Yeah. I quite liked that, though.
I honestly preferred that.
Yeah.
But I can understand people... I think each series was a kind of radically different thing, because kind of... The 9th series was kind of this weird, almost midlife crisis thing where he was playing guitar, had the Sonic sunglasses. Yeah. Did you not like the Sonic sunglasses?
I don't like the fact that he played the guitar on a tank, that he wore the sunglasses, but I did like the Professor's School stuff. I really enjoyed that. Again, a great last series. Like I said a minute ago, Moffat writes really good last series for each Doctor, I feel.
Yeah, that's
and that was
interesting.
Capaldi's best series, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree. There's also some more quotes from him. Talking about how one of the great things about doing Doctor Who is it kind of cures you in the nicest possible way. So I think they're all great, and I wish everybody well, but I'm done. He laughs almost gleefully. So again, further kind of confirmation that he's happy with the work he did on Doctor Who and doesn't want to do anymore.
I mean, it really sucks because I love Capaldi. And I think he's great, and I would love to see him come back. But at the same time, I totally understand why you... I don't know. I feel it's so difficult because everything I say, I then go, but Russell T Davies has returned.
Yeah. But the thing with Capaldi to me is that we've heard him speak in the past about how, whilst working on the show, it felt like this huge kind of...
Television factory.
Yeah, and also it was a huge responsibility for him to be the kind of the figurehead of this big institution and everything. Perhaps if he came back, he'd be able to enjoy it a bit more and be a bit more free, because he wouldn't be kind of the incumbent Doctor.
Yeah.
He'd be, one
of many.
Yeah, one of many, kind of going back and adding to his personal legacy. And maybe doing that, he'd feel a bit more comfortable.
Like Ben Affleck returning as Batman.
Yeah, kind of.
Like he said, it's been more fun doing The Flash than it has been doing any of the other movies.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Because he's not in it that much. But yeah, no, I think it sucks, right, that he's doesn't really want to return. It's not like an Eccleston thing, where you could understand why Eccleston didn't want to return. And I mean, I understand why Capaldi doesn't want to return, but it's Capaldi's not wanting to return is one of those things that you can maybe change his mind about.
Yeah, he seems pretty set.
Yeah.
Whereas, even Matt, he didn't show any great eagerness to return.
But he's also not shutting it down.
Yeah, he's open to it.
Because I would love, if there's a Doctor I would love to hear on audio, it would be Capaldi.
He's a great voice.
Yeah. And I would love to see Capaldi return in the 60th, as I would love to see any other Doctor return in the 60th. It always bums me out when they don't necessarily want to come back.
Yeah.
But maybe that's because it still feels quite recent. And he hasn't... I know he did the Suicide Squad, which he was amazing in. And he's done he's in a play at the moment.
Yeah.
Which is in the theatre
I think
next door to...
he's got an album coming out.
He does, which is in the theatre next door to Back to the Future. I wonder if he's seen that.
Back to the Future? He's probably gone to see Back to the Future. I imagine Peter Capaldi likes Back to the Future.
I hope he does.
Well, I mean, I feel like... I don't know if I know a single person who dislikes Back to the Future.
That's true. And I don't want to hear it in the comments either.
There'll be one comment saying, I don't like Back to the Future.
What was I watching last night? And one of the characters like, I was watching The Office.
Right.
The American Office. And Michael Scott, Steve Carell's character, was trying to chat this girl up, and he's talking about a tattoo idea he had where he's going to get Back to the Future on his back. And like the girl he's talking to is like, she's like, I've never seen Back to the Future. And Michael Scott's reaction is the exact same reaction I have every time someone tells me they haven't seen Back to the Future, which is, you haven't seen Back to the Future?
And then you invite them round to your house to watch it.
Yeah.
Like you did with Harrison.
No, Harrison insisted that he came around and watched it.
Oh, okay.
He was like, that was like the thing he wanted to do. He was like, I want to watch those movies with you.
Oh.
We've seen 1 and he keeps trying to plan 2
Part
and 3,
2.
but we just haven't had time yet.
You'll never get round to part 3.
Part 3 is my second...
Oh, I know you like part 3.
Yeah.
I know you like part 3.
Yeah.
I forget that, yeah. I mean, I don't dislike part 3. I've just only...
Peter Capaldi.
I mean, I feel like we've said all we have to say about Peter Capaldi.
I'd love him to return. I hope he does. I hope Russell can talk him into it. There's probably a good chance he will, and I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Yeah. It'd be cool to see Russell write for Capaldi, what he'd do with that character.
I think when we get into the Matt Smith stuff, we should watch the Matt Smith Sarah Jane Adventures episode.
Okay.
Because that's a Russell T Davies written Matt Smith episode.
Yeah. Was that the last thing Russell wrote for Doctor Who?
Possibly. I'm not 100% sure.
Me neither. But it'd be cool to see how he writes for Matt Smith. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to hand over into the watch along?
Yeah. It's kind of weird because this is the first part 2, so I don't really know how to do something different.
Say the same joke as last week, but just say part 2 at the end.
This week's episode of Doctor Who took place on the planet Time, and looked like things were pretty ropey for the Doctor. It was like, uh-oh, is this going to be the end of time? Part 2. I'm very proud of myself.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut it down, pop up!
Make sure you subscribe to the official Bigger on the Inside podcast.
What's the point in having you all?
Hello, it's the watch along part. Hello, Harry.
Hi, Tim. It's been a while.
It's been exactly 6 minutes or so.
Yeah.
I reboiled the kettle, made us a fresh cup of American Joe.
American Joe? Isn't that coffee?
Yeah.
But it's tea you're drinking.
I'm trying to appear international because America is our second biggest audience.
Wow. Second biggest behind who? Dubai?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Dubai tea next week. Should we talk about this week's episode, Harry?
The End of Time Part 2.
Harry, what episode are we talking about this week?
I just said it. The End of Time Part 2.
Here's the trailer.
Sometimes I think a Time Lord lives too long.
The day is almost upon us. This is the Doctor's final battle.
I don't want you to die. This should be spectacular.
Gallifrey rises! The Time Lords are returning. At last, we are gathered for the end.
The 10th Doctor's final adventure concludes. Doctor Who, New Year's Day at 6:40 on BBC One.
There was the trailer. Do you remember last week we edited in the trailers?
Yeah. Did you actually edit it in?
I remembered.
Oh, well done.
Harry, what did you think of the End of Time Part 2 by Russell T Davies?
It was...
Last time you'll be saying that.
Yeah, this is... I can't believe that this is the last ever episode of Doctor Who that Russell T Davies is ever going to write.
Should we get
And the
into
last
that?
episode of Doctor Who that David Tennant is ever going to be in as the Doctor. This is the last time we're going to ever see either of these guys contribute to the world of Doctor Who.
We'll get into that more towards the end, because I do want to talk about that. Let's start... one thing a lot of this episode, I was watching it very reflectively, going, this is the last time such and such.
Yeah.
And one thing that I noticed is the tone and cinematography of these RTD episodes, you don't see again.
Yeah, it feel and look completely different.
Yeah.
Even though, like, the Moffat era, like, it's like the same camera quality and stuff. They're both HD, because I know these latter episodes are HD, but as soon as we get to them, we'll talk about that later, but there's a warmth to how this series looks. Yeah. There's a certain way, like the ship design.
Comforting, isn't it?
Yeah, like the ship design has a certain feel to it that it does kind of remind me of childhood. Maybe it's just that big round shape, stuff like that.
Yeah. So the episode opens on Gallifrey. Did you notice all the crashed Dalek ships on the base of Gallifrey?
I did see those crash ships,
It's the first time I've ever noticed that. And I really liked it, because obviously this is after the Time War.
Yeah.
I like the fact they've just not bothered to clear any of it up.
Well, yeah, because they're too busy in the midst of the battle.
Yeah, that dark room. Should we talk about Gallifrey?
Yeah, because it's interesting how...
Gallifrey, they just put a black curtain up, didn't they?
Well, yeah, like, I mean, I guess it's kind of an atmospheric choice, isn't it? And we do get kind of that kind of council... Did we see the council room, the big council room in this episode? Later on.
You see the one where it's very Star Warsy, there's all the different pillars and podiums.
There were a lot of things in this episode that were very Star Warsy, I felt.
Gallifrey Dark Rooms. Razzle on Timothy Dalton, we get a bit more of him. A lot more of him in this episode. He's great.
He's really good.
I learned that originally they looked at trying to get Patrick Stewart.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can really see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that I watched Confidential, they said that they wanted Dalton, but if he said no, I think the fallback was Stewart.
Stewart being the fullback. Wow, that really speaks volumes to the fact they wanted Dalton.
Yeah, but I think he's amazing. He's very scary.
He is. Like, he's terrifying.
Yeah. And I
guess that whole Thanos glove.
Yeah, the electric mitten.
Yeah, does he make someone disintegrate, or do you just...
He does early on, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And then she, like, turns to dust.
Yeah.
I mean, he's great, because, like you say... Sorry, not like you say, like the Doctor says, he's always spoke very highly of Gallifrey and very reflective, but when he learns that they're coming back...
Grabs the gun.
Yeah, so we'll get to all of that.
I'm going to say outright that I enjoyed part 2 a lot more than part 1. That's usually the case with these two-parters, but I feel like... Even, you know how I said Waters of Mars I thought should have been retroactive, like, reworked to be Tennant's last episode? Yeah. I don't know, watching this, I'm kind of going back on that. There's something about these Russell-era finales that's so big and emotive and climactic.
Yeah. So, the first time we see the Doctor, he's gagged up. He's in a chair, he's tied up. So is Wilf. And it made me think, if everybody is the Master...
Yeah.
Then everybody must think like the Master.
Yeah.
So why isn't everybody trying to be the Master?
As in, why isn't everybody, like, fighting for control?
Yeah.
I guess it's because the Master, you know, whilst being power hungry and calculating, well, being all power hungry and a little bit mad, he is also very calculated, intelligent, and he knows that they all understand they need to work as a collective to get this goal that he's so desperate to achieve achieved.
That's true.
Yeah.
There's some great lines in this.
Yeah.
He loves playing with Earth girls. So true. The Doctor, when he gets ungagged, the first thing he says is, "Oh, hello," because and I think that's something that Russell does so well. I'm going to be completely honest. If I get through this without blubbering, I'm going to be so surprised. But the fact that I think the way he writes the Doctor is just fantastic.
Yeah. The thing is, I always remember this because when I remember End of Time, usually I remember the last 20 minutes of the End of Time. But I forgot how before that, it's still, the 10th Doctor isn't just melancholy and stoic. He's really fun here. You know his last episode, even though he knows he's at death's door, he's still throwing in little witticisms. Yeah. He has really funny sequences and he's really enjoying himself at points. Yeah. And that's great to see.
Would you like to... in Capaldi's era... We get the Doctor and the Master, and they do travel together. Would you like to see an alternate where John Sim and Tennant travel together?
I mean, yeah, because they have such great chemistry. There's
what
a real
cast,
connection,
isn't it? Yeah. Timothy Dalton, John Sim, and David Tennant,
and Benedict Cribbins.
Amazing.
So okay, I'm gonna say this. Shoot me down if you don't think so. When the 10th Doctor and the Master were talking about traveling stars. Do you think there was a little bit of a chemistry there?
I didn't pick up on it, But if there was, I imagine it's probably from the Masters to the Doctor.
Yeah, I felt that. I kind of felt those kind of sparks.
Yeah. Interesting. There's something I really want to get to, but I'm going to save it because we spoke about it last week and I said we would come back to it this week.
Yes, I know what that is.
Donna starts to remember and she sort of does that cool explosion regeneration energy thing.
Yeah, the thing that the Doctor says that he put in a defense mechanism.
Yeah, I like stuff like that because I feel like in future episodes of Doctor Who there's a lot of suddenly this happens and everyone was safe.
Yeah.
Whereas with Russell it's more fun.
Yeah.
You don't question it, but you go, okay, fine, whatever.
I guess maybe
because the rest of the story is so well served.
And he writes in such kind of a grounded, human way that you just buy it.
Yeah.
Like, one thing I really bought in that was when Wilf was on the phone to her and just like his desperation. The one thing he just wants her to be safe and wants to protect her, and that instinct kicking, it's so good.
Yeah. The cactus that takes out the Master. That's good.
They're fun characters.
They're fun because one of them hates everything that they're doing, and the other one's kind of likes the Doctor and kind of wants to help out.
I was kind of surprised kind of in this final episode, like they just kind of abandon the Doctor at the end.
They do, don't they? Yeah. We'll get to all that. And the Doctor in a wheelchair. Let's talk about that.
That was a really fun sequence I was talking about.
Worst rescue ever. What I found, because I watched Confidential last night, which I also will remind me of at the end. They're talking about that scene because David Tennant had to drop out of Hamlet because he had back surgery.
Oh.
And then 2 weeks later, they had to put him in a wheelchair and throw him down a flight of stairs. So if you watch it, the close-ups are David, and the second shots, it's not even Colm, it's just a dummy.
Oh, okay.
And if you watch Covenant, it's so lifelike, it's unbelievable.
But I did not pick on that.
Have you seen the Graham Norton thing where they have that Daniel Radcliffe doll?
No, I've not seen
that. Daniel Radcliffe was in that film where he gets washed up on a beach.
Swiss Army Man. Yeah.
And they bring the doll onto the Graham Norton show, and it's like that. It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
They're in the wheelchair, then they get cornered by the Master and his goons, and they're transported to space.
Yeah.
And they end up on a spaceship, and Wilf's in space.
Yeah, I love that. I love that we still have someone who's new to all this here. Like, even in this final episode, you have that reminder of these are incredible adventures and things happening. Even something as simple as being in space. Well, simple as the Doctor. Well, for the Doctor, that's simple. But Wilf is like, wow, I can see the planet Earth.
Because they run off, don't they? And the Doctor has to come back for him. He sort of grabs up. He's like, come on, come with me.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have a sip of my tea. But the conversation's finished. So just say a little something.
I don't look very good in hats.
Don't you?
No, I don't have the head for hats.
I don't either. I have to put 5 big hats. The Doctor's stuck on a ship with Wilf. This is fun.
This is a great scene. It's like the cafe scene again. Like just a scene, just Bernard Cribbins and David Tennant.
Should we talk about their relationship in this episode?
Yes, because I get what you're saying now about the father-son thing.
The Master at the start of the episode says, your dad's talking or something like that, like it's a joke. And then Will said, I'd be proud if I was. And then later the Doctor says it back to him. He says, I would be proud if you were my father. And I want to get into that whole family thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how much you know about this, but the woman...
I've heard things about this, and I'm guessing that was what was intended.
Okay, so I did some digging online.
Yeah.
And the actor's name who plays that part escapes me. He's a known actor, but I forget. When she was approached about the role, she was told that she would be playing the Doctor's mother.
Yes, that's what I'd heard.
But I can't get goosebumps thinking about it. But it's not said in the episode.
No, and it's never referenced again after this.
And a lot of the stage directions in the episodes are sort of hinted towards that it could be... So there's hints in the stage directions that it could be the Doctor's mother, it could be his grandmother, or it could be Susan.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know there's one... I feel like if it was Susan, they would have got the actor who played Susan.
Of course, yeah. Caroline Fallback.
Yeah.
So I liked that in his last scenes where... We're jumping ahead a little bit.
Yes.
Where he's got the gun and he's conflicted. Is he going to shoot the Master or is he going to shoot Rassilon?
And
that's all happening in front of his mum and his dad.
Oh, is the other person her dad?
Well, no, because you think about it, he sees Wilf as a father figure.
Oh, shit.
So he's got his dad at one side, who he sees as his father. He's got his mother at the other side of the room.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And just such an effective moment when she looks up and the Doctor sees her and just the look on his face. That was like, oh yeah, that's his fucking mum.
Yeah, and then she covers herself back up because she doesn't want to watch what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Would you like to see... I feel like you couldn't... I feel David's Doctor would have been the perfect Doctor, maybe Matt a little bit, to interact with his mum.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. Matt especially, just because, he's
young.
He's young. Yeah, and also he's got that kind of almost... not quite teenager, but like a kind of teenager kind of awkwardness about him.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, you could say David has that kind of almost adolescent angst about him. So either of those would play really well off a mother figure, yeah.
And there's also rumours that the woman we saw in Once Upon a Time, that random lady...
That could be also the Doctor's mother.
But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
And they're the questions for the quiz. Let me square them off. The Wilf.
The Wilf.
Wilf gives the Doctor a gun. It says, "You are the most wonderful man, and I don't want you to die." It is so beautiful, this episode. I generally love it so much.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I mean, yeah, just really, it's that whole father-son thing. Like, he's just so protective and loving of this guy because it's just, he's so grateful of everything he's done for him and his family and for Donna, even if that's been erased. I mean, I feel like there'd be a lot of people viewing the episode who feel, especially growing up with that David Tennant, who'd be feeling exactly the same as Wilf and so protective and not willing to let go.
Yeah. Well, I remember when he said that. I was watching thinking, yeah, damn right. Would you... I know we spoke about it last week and you said you wouldn't like to see Wilf return. At the end of this episode, I thought if he was going to return, now would be a cool time to see Wilf return. Wilf and Jodie, that'd be great teaming. But I also love the fact that it's just Wilf and the 10th Doctor.
That's the thing, because Wilf's relationship is with the 10th Doctor, and the whole thing.
The 10th Doctor can change.
Yeah, and well, he does know because he talks about it in part of 1.
Oh, yeah,
but it's very clearly established that to the Doctor, and because of that to Wilf, any other incarnation of the Doctor is is essentially a different person.
Yeah.
And so it wouldn't really be quite the same person to Wilf. The same way that the 10th Doctor wasn't the 9th Doctor to Rose in Christmas Invasion.
That's true. I like the fact that they mentioned that Gallifrey's time-locked. Because then that leads into what they do in Day of the Doctor.
Yeah. I was very surprised by things mentioned in this episode, like the moment, which were then brought back up. Like they talk about, like, the Doctor has the moment and all of that, and I can picture, John Hurt's Doctor in Day of the Doctor and all of that when they talk about that.
So well done, isn't it?
Yeah.
Day of the Doctor, that was fun. Doctor saving the day. Should we talk about the very last Alon Z?
Yeah.
Isn't it great?
He gives it his all.
Because I remember it was coming up. And it's when he stood there, I was like, oh, here we go, this is going to be great. And it's the biggest one he ever says.
She knows the significance of that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
At the time, had Alan Z as a catchphrase taken on in the way that it has, it's so beloved now?
A little bit, maybe not a lot. I think when I was watching it, I don't think I necessarily realised it was a catchphrase. It's only afterwards when you see like retrospective T-shirts and stuff like that, and Geronimo.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, we'll get to this later, but I feel like Geronimo, Moffat was quite aware that Geronimo was going to be a thing in the way Alan Z is a thing.
Yeah, exactly. I like the... Did you know... I don't know how much of a Red Dwarf fan you are, but did you notice that the spaceship they're on looks a little bit like Starbug from Red Dwarf?
I did not notice that.
Okay.
The thing I thought about the ship was it gave me very big Millennium Falcon vibes.
Really?
The way that it had kind of like these circular corridors, and then when they were in like the kind of fighting off the missiles, they had the the gun turrets
How
that
good
moved
is
around.
Wilf in that scene?
It's so fun.
Again, on Confidential, I watched Euros, the director of this episode, basically say he didn't have to give Benedict Cribbins any stage directions because someone off screen is controlling the pod, making the gun go up and down. Sorry, making the pod go up and down. But the chair inside is controlled by the actors.
Okay.
So all the spinning around is Bernard doing that himself. And he said, and if you watch Confidential, there's like a minute of footage of just Bernard loving it. And he's going, woohoo! If Donna, is shouting all that. And I love it when he flies off and he just says, if Donna could see me now.
Yeah.
Because what I love about Wilf is that even though he's in all these amazing situations, he still just wishes his family were there as well.
Because he's just filled with... I mean, this can be said for a lot of Russell's characters, that they're filled with so much love. Like, so much love for the people around them and the experience. Yeah.
Did Timothy Dalton get an opening titles credit?
No, he didn't. It was the same as part 1, David Tennant, John Sim, and Benedict Cribbins.
Okay.
Last time we saw that, we're seeing those opening titles in that version of the theme.
Oh, don't get me started, man. Again, we're talking about Wilf. The scene where the Doctor, he gives his L-on-Z, and he's flying towards the Maysmith mansion, and Wilf says, "Are we all about to die?" He says, "I'm not going to stop you, but I just want to know if I'm going to die." And so I thought, he was prepared to die.
Flying by his side.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Insane. So good.
I get goosebumps thinking about it because, like, that... Oh, man, it's amazing. And the Doctor smashes to the ground.
I'm surprised he didn't just die from the impact, not gonna lie.
That was the last scene that David filmed, was on that green screen stuff. Is when he was on the
because
wires.
they finished with the green screen stuff.
Yeah, that's the only part of the episode where I sort of go, maybe a little far-fetched.
Yeah, but it wouldn't really work if he, like, crashed down and then, like, you got up and it was Matt Smith.
Yeah. But then again, has the regeneration energy already started kicking by this point? So,
no, it's definitely not by that point.
So this is just a look that he...
And also, I guess, just like Time Lord resilience from fall damage.
Yeah. Rassilon reverses Master. Oh, yeah. The Master plan.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Rassilon versus the Master. That's great.
It's great. And just the whole thing of... I love the fact that they resolved the whole drumbeat thing being... a link. And that was in place along... Also, this
Can
is
other Time Lords hear the drumming then, or is it just the Master?
It's just the Master because the Time Lords planted it in the Master because they knew he'd escape from Earth.
Okay.
Also, just because this is my last chance to mention it, or as we've never mentioned it before, the heartbeat of the Time Lord. Da-da-da-dum.
Oh! No way!
Yeah! It's the Doctor Who theme.
Dum,
da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-dum.
Oh my god, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. The heartbeat of the Time...
That's so amazing, I never realised that.
Well, I think of it every time I watch it, but I realise I never brought it up in the podcast, but that's exactly what they're going for.
Oh, yeah. Fucking
Which also makes it, because throughout this whole thing, the Master's theme is that da-da-da-dum. It's kind of almost like an inverse evil version of the Doctor Who theme in a
crazy,
way.
Yeah. Gallifrey returns, the whole
planet.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Apart from that one scene where Maysmith is looking up and he's looking over there and Gallifrey's behind him.
Oh,
did you pick up on that?
I did not.
Like, you look at it and you're like, the perspective doesn't quite work.
Right.
But it's still cool. And the Doctor's sort of given up, isn't he? He's sort of just laying on the floor. He doesn't even stand up.
Yeah.
He just gets there. But he does get up and he's got a gun.
Yeah.
And he points it at Rassilon
first.
And there's that really cool scene where the Master's like, "Yeah, kill him! And he points it at the Master
snaps
it. Yeah. And he's like, "No, not me!" And then he goes back and he's like, "Yeah, kill them!" And I love it. I think it's so fun. And it doesn't take away from the scene, how dramatic the scene is. That John Sim is talking over the top of it the whole time, because it works.
Yeah.
The Master switching side is good. He sees his mother, we talked about that, the Master versus Rassilon. Then the Master goes. He's just taken off to Gallifrey.
Yeah.
What do you think happened? Because obviously he escapes.
Yeah, I can't remember if we get an explanation of how he escapes down the line, because the Master we see in World Enough and Time is a later on Master, isn't it? The Master without the drums.
Yeah, it's Missy.
No, I mean...
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, do you think there's a Big Finish story in there somewhere?
Probably. There's always a Big Finish story. And I know there's loads of Time War stuff in Big Finish, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like, Time War is really comprehensively covered.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. And then everyone comes to, and the Doctor says, "I'm alive," and then there's the knocks again, and it's Wilf.
Yeah, this scene. I know this scene, for some Doctor Who fans, they find it really contentious.
Okay.
I disagree with this. I'm going to say, some people don't like that the 10th Doctor is almost kind of in a position of sort of weakness, and that he has this big rant about how he could do so much more, and he has this moment where you can't deny he's acting kind of selfishly, but at the same time he's about to die.
Yeah.
And I know some people don't like it because every single other incarnation of the Doctor, by the time they regenerate, they're ready for it. Yeah. They're accepting of it. and the 10th Doctor's the only one who doesn't feel that way.
Well,
How do you feel about that?
Well, I saw that in Confidential. Russell said that they advertised it in Build It, and he wrote it as the death, not a regeneration, the death of the Doctor.
Yeah.
And I think that's what sells it.
Yeah.
And I like it because this was not everybody. Most people watching Doctor Who now, this was their first Doctor, so this was their first regeneration.
Yeah.
And everybody loved David. Nobody wanted David to leave.
Yeah.
So I feel like it kind of works. I don't have a problem with it.
I love it because I feel like it makes sense. Like, of all these regenerations, of course there'll be one version who doesn't want to go. Yeah. And is this the first time really that it was established that regeneration for the Doctor is like a death?
Possibly. I'm not too sure. Because the only real one I have experience with before this is Eccleston.
When there, he just kind of says, "I'm going to change."
Yeah.
He doesn't act as if he is going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what the original plan for Tennant's last episode was?
What was it?
It was just going to be an episode where he's trapped on a ship with an alien family, and he sacrifices himself so this family can live.
I'm glad they went this way.
Because what Russell liked is he liked the idea that it's something so unspectacular that causes the regeneration, which is what happens in this episode.
Yeah.
But he felt it was maybe slightly anticlimactic that you don't have the big blockbuster episode.
Yeah.
Which you get in this. And then you get the just saving one guy is what causes his regeneration. So he saves Wilf, he gets in the box, all the lights go red. He falls to the ground, and he's going, "Arr!" And then he covers his head up. When you watched that for the first time, how convinced was you that Matt Smith was going to stand up in that box?
I mean, especially with that angle with the hair.
They've done it on purpose, haven't they?
Yeah, you could tell like they were thinking that we'd be thinking, which you were thinking, that'd be Matt Smith.
Yeah.
But no, there's 20 minutes left.
Yeah, great. Fake out regeneration, always good. Anyway, he gets out, rubs his face, and the regeneration process has already started.
And I feel so bad for Wilf here because he just thinks, "Oh, you're fine, you're better."
Oh yeah,
and the Doctor
gets that twice.
Yeah, and the Doctor just doesn't have it in his heart to explain to him what's going on.
So he takes Wilf home. Wilf says, "What you going?" He says he's going to go and get his reward. And this is what everybody remembers about this episode. I feel it's my favourite part of the episode.
It's a great victory
It might be
lap.
my favourite part of the RTD era.
Really?
Yeah, because it just everything comes together.
So let's do a scene by scene, blow by blow.
Martha and Mickey versus the Sontaran.
They're married.
Yeah, they're married, and Martha no longer works for UNIT.
Yes, she's gone solo.
Freelance, yeah. So that means that if UNIT does return, they're going to have to think of a new way to bring Martha back.
Yeah.
Great. Good to see those characters again.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting something for Mickey? Because he's been so screwed over these last few series. Series 1, Rose forgets about him. Series 2, he's waiting for Rose, and then when he's ready to move on, Rose fucking throws a paddy about it. Series 3... Do we see Mickey in Series 3?
No.
Yeah, at the very end. Oh, no, we don't. No.
Series
4, we see Mickey, and he's been on parallel Earth with Rose, but then she gets her own Doctor.
Yeah.
So then he comes back to Earth because his gran died, so there's nothing there for him, and he comes back and he meets Martha, and now they're in love.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm happy with that.
I find it funny that of all the actors in that scene, the one who's still in Doctor Who in 2021 is the Sontaran.
Dan Starkey, yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Love it. Sorry?
I love that it's him as the Sontaran.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. And then we go to Bannerman Road.
Yes.
Where the Doctor saves Luke.
Yeah. Luke shouldn't have been walking in front of on the road like that.
Another inside story from Confidential is that Russell was always annoyed that in the Sarah Jane Adventures, no one ever looks before they cross the road on Bannerman Road.
So is that
So it's an in-joke, because Russell was always like, well, they're just going to get run over. Because obviously you can't have a character looking both ways, because it would ruin the flow of the episode.
Yeah.
So that's where that comes from.
That's really funny.
What I really like, though, is the fact that he doesn't say anything to Sarah. He doesn't give anything to Sarah. He just gives her a look, and she knows what's about to happen. And she isn't sad. She's sort of like, she knows that he's going to be okay in the end.
Yeah.
And I really like that sort
of... It's such a wonderful moment from...
Yeah. And for us as podcasters, apart from when we do the Matt Smith one, that's the last time we're going to see Sarah.
Yeah. I don't know something about Liz Sladen's performance, like she always brings so much she always brought so much kind of pathos to that role, and she always had such seriousness and heart and earnestness. You felt like this is a woman who's lived a life in this world,
Yeah, yeah.
and it means so much to her.
And Russell said that he didn't give Sarah as much of a big thing as everybody else gets because her revenge still
was still going.
And he talks about how Moffat probably isn't going to revisit any of these characters. He doesn't.
Yeah, and so he is a final send off for all of them.
Jack is in a big old alien space gay bar.
Again, very Star Wars.
Yep. Apparently, after the events of Torchwood, everybody's dead. Yanto's dead. Spoilers.
Oh, I mean, I'm not watching Torchwood.
No, I haven't either. Yanto's dead. Everybody's practically gone. It's just Jack.
So how Torchwood ended by this point?
I'm not. I think there was one more series. I think there was a crossover series.
Okay.
Where Torchwood ran at the same time as Matt Smith's Doctor Who.
Right. Okay.
Only one. So yeah, Jack with a load of aliens and he meets Alonzo.
Yeah, I'm glad we got Alonzo back.
Yeah, that's good.
Bit of Russell Tovey.
Yeah, that's great. Good little team up. I think those two have done Big Finish together as well.
Have they?
I think so. Yeah, that's fun, and the way it does. What I really like about it is I don't know why, but little scenes like that where the Doctor passes through towards life for seconds, and it's the same with Sally Sparrow at the end of Blink. I was thinking, that's so cool. That's how you'd want to meet the Doctor, I think.
Yeah.
Like, if the Doctor was real, I don't necessarily know if I'd want to go on a big crazy adventure. But if the Doctor just sort of handed you something in a bar, or if you needed a pen in class, he just gave you a cool pen. You know, something really simple.
And like the Doctor's like, and also if you think like, he only had like one or two scenes with Alonzo and saved his life. Like Alonzo wouldn't be there in that bar if it wasn't for the Doctor.
Exactly. One that I completely forgot about is the return of Jessica Hines as the granddaughter of Joan Redfern.
That's right, yeah.
Who, from Paul Cornell's Human Nature, who, when you think about it, is the only character the Doctor has truly loved and confessed his love to.
Yeah,
he never told
crazy.
Rose he loved her, but he told Joan Redfern that he did love her because when he was human. And I also like the fact that when he sees her granddaughter, he gets teary about it.
Yeah.
And it sort of makes me think, did he still fancy her a little bit?
I mean, yeah, it was a blonde woman.
But you know what I mean? Was there still that
But like there, at that point, you can tell there's like his feelings about the whole thing. Like you can tell there's like remorse there and regret for how it was handled. Like the first thing he asks was she happy?
Yeah. Hey, do you know what would be cool?
What?
A TV miniseries set in that universe.
Like the aftermath of it?
No, so you have David Tennant as human John Sim. John Smith. You have Jessica Hines back, and you can have like a drama series about how they got their lives together.
Okay,
that'd be cool. It doesn't have to be sci-fi. You just do straight up real life drama because it's set during wartime. You can have some dead babies in there, standard drama stuff.
One thing I found really interesting about this episode is that there's two noticeable nods to non-Russell T Davies episodes, which are this one being Human Nature, and also the reference to the Weeping Angels with the Time Lords. Remember, because those who voted,
they mention the angels, don't they?
Those who voted against the council have to hold their cover their faces with shame, like the Weeping Angels of old.
Yeah,
I think it speaks a lot to kind of like how well received those two episodes specifically were. That they're the two that kind of get these special shout outs and spotlights.
Chibnall's era, we're going to get some mentions because of common fan theory is that Weeping Angels might actually be Time Lords.
I've heard that.
I like that.
I'd like some expansion of the Weeping Angels lore because the most we've really got is this mention of the Weeping Angels of old. Yeah.
Harry, it's taken us 3 years, but Donna Noble finally gets married.
Yeah. And it seems like she's enjoying herself. She seems happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She got married to Temple dude.
Yeah.
Can't remember his first name. Jeffrey, I want to say.
That sounds right.
Yeah. And then the Doctor turns up and he just watches from a distance. And then Sylvia and Wilf go over and they have a little chat. And the part that got me pretty choked up was the fact that he gives him a scratch card that he bought with the money given from Jeffrey Noble, who was Donna's dad, who the actor sadly passed away between the filming of The Runaway Bride and Partners in Crime. And I loved that. I thought that was amazing, the way that actor gets a little nod. And it all just... It's so perfect how Russell just takes that thin strand that you'd forgotten about. It wasn't important at all to Doctor Who, but he just takes it and goes, I'll put that to there. And you go, fuck yes. It's
the one thing I really like in this episode as well is the fact that Sylvia finally kind of
She
changes her
accepts
tune about the Doctor.
yeah.
Like, before this, when Gallery's appearing, she's like, help us, Doctor.
Yeah.
And, like, he's won her over.
Do you think a
without
lot of
even
that
trying.
as well is because she maybe sees the connection with Wilf, and she can see what she's also done for Wilf?
Maybe, yeah.
And of course we get Wilf crying.
And the final salute.
Yeah. I thought the Doctor saluted back, but he doesn't.
No.
And I thought a really cool touch would be, because the 10th Doctor's always don't salute. If the one salute he accepted was from Wilf,
Yeah.
that would have been so cool. And then last time we see Wilf. And then I completely forgot about this.
Did you forget about this one?
I completely forgot about the very last one. And I watch it again. I say goodbye to everybody. And then we get Billy Piper and Camille back as Jackie and Rose.
Just a perfect way to end it. Like,
The
we
whole
started the era.
RTD series goes full circle, so you can watch it over and over again. And the way he just says, you're going to have a really great year.
Yeah.
I thought, you fucking are.
And even the thing hinting at, like, the way that Billy's interacting with the Doctor there, you can tell even then she fancies him a little bit.
Yeah, I love it. It's so amazing. And then Ooze Sigma appears.
And he's singing to sleep.
Your story is ending now. And he does his little stagger. And then he regenerates.
The music.
The Murray Gold. We haven't spoken. I remember in our very first episode we spoke about Murray Gold. And basically said we know nothing about music, so we just to let you know we love Murray Gold. And I feel it's only acceptable in our last RTD episode to talk about how much we love Murray Gold again.
Like, Murray Gold stays for the whole Moffat era.
I know, but you sort of...
It feels different.
Yeah.
It feels different. Like, this is the last time we kind of hear the... Da, da, da.
Let's talk about the regeneration. The whole TARDIS blows up.
Yeah,
it's the
bits are
biggest
falling
Doctor Who
apart.
regeneration.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't know if it's just because we're doing the podcast or because just like, I don't know what it was, but this was the first time I watched that regeneration and I wasn't fully ready to see David go.
Same.
I wasn't, because I remember when it first came out, I was excited for the new Doctor and everything, but this time I was like, oh man, he's gone.
Yeah. One thing that really struck me when rewatching these episodes is how much... I was watching these two episodes and how much everything around that time of watching these episodes suddenly came flooding back.
Yeah.
So when this episode came out, David was leaving. I was 10. So you're just becoming a young adult teenager in a couple of years. I was leaving primary school to go to secondary school in a year. And it's suddenly all these big changes were sort of suddenly re-triggered by this one episode of Doctor Who. And it was crazy how much all that came flooding back. I felt exactly, probably not as upset as I felt because I knew it was coming, but like that shot where David's face changes into Matt's.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it the other night, and I was watching David's face. I was trying to watch it for as long as possible.
Yeah, I wasn't ready. I was hanging on to David for as long as possible, which is what Russell does.
Yeah, but then as soon as Matt's there...
Yes, as soon as Matt's there, the music changes. Yeah. He starts, I was like, oh, Matt Smith is really good!
Yeah, and instantly, you kind of move on quite quickly.
Yeah, I think, I'm going to say this, I think this is pretty uncontroversial. I think this is the best final Doctor scene and first Doctor scene throughout the whole history. Like, the way David leaves is perfect. The way Matt enters is so good.
Yeah, it's great. I feel they try and copy it a little bit with the two that follow. With Matt to Capaldi, you have the TARDIS crashing again, and the Doctor being like, oh, what am I doing?
Yeah, but it doesn't hit in the same way it hits here.
And then when... Pardon me again, I've just had a cup of tea. And then when Capaldi regenerates into Jodie, you get the big explosions again, but not as big. And then you get the TARDIS crashing.
I was just going to say, imagine being Matt Smith filming this thing. Like,
should we talk about that?
Doctor Who is the biggest show on TV. David Tennant is beloved by a nation. They're not ready for him to go. And you have to come in and win everyone over in this, 1 minute.
So let's talk about the production of this, because I watched Confidential.
Yes.
And they were saying that everybody was slowly... More and more people were getting on set, runners, caterers. Everybody just wanted to see Matt's first scenes. So eventually they had to, shoo everybody out. Everybody doesn't need to be here. Go. I just don't want you looking at the quiz questions.
Oh, no, I didn't see
and then, so they shoo everybody out of the TARDIS set. And then they say... Matt Smith's ready to come over. Can someone send Matt Smith over? Matt Smith then has to walk through everybody they've just sent out the TARDIS to get to this, including Russell.
Including
Russell. He stood outside by this point because it's not.
Was Moffat in the room?
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
So, same director, Euros stayed and directed that last scene. But you see it on Confidential, they film him for the first time walking to the set. And they catch Matt meeting Russell for the very first time.
He hadn't met Russell before.
No, it's the first time they've ever met. And Russell says, you hear Russell's voiceover and he's saying that, I could see Matt walking in David's costume and I want to talk to him, but he thought Matt didn't want to speak to him. So then Russell sort of turns away and then Matt grabs him and they start having a conversation. But Russell says he's like in this really awkward, like, looking really rude thing. And he says, like, he's talking to Matt all the time. He's thinking, you're in David's costume. This is very weird. And obviously then they go... You've got to watch... It's the best Confidential episode I think there is because of those last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
They film Matt behind the scenes preparing for his lines and stuff. And I don't know if you've seen it, but like I must have watched that so many times as a kid because he's all like pointing at the camera and doing like little gun fingers at the camera from a distance.
Because I've seen the stuff of David filming his last scene, but not Matt shooting his first scene.
It's really, really good. Like you see like how young he is. And like as watch him as an actor as well. Like you watch him now and I feel like if you were filming behind the scenes he wouldn't really be that bothered by it. And he was sort of like, hey, alright.
Yeah.
But like he's sort of walking around the TARDIS just like trying to soak it all in. And every now and again he'll look up and he'll give a little slight wink at the camera and stuff. And like he does all like this cool wiggly stuff with his hands.
The thing is like Matt Smith for the most part was basically an unknown.
This is the first time we've spoken about him properly.
Yeah, because like when David Tennant came, like he was known as like Casanova and stuff like that. Matt Smith, I'm not sure what people's reference was for Matt Smith.
Secret Diary of a Cold Girl, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, but so. And he just comes in with so much swagger and confidence and excitement.
They establish he could be a girl.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Moffat from the Star Wars era is planting that seed. It's so good.
And then we get the Geronimo big old catchphrase as the camera swells up to the TARDIS. Fantastic. What an amazing episode.
So good. God.
Yeah, I really did love it. I'm surprised we got through that without at least me blubbering at some point.
That also closed on the first Russell T Davies era.
Okay, let's talk about this. Because I was watching it and I sort of thought, I was thinking, I love this so much, the whole aesthetic look to it. And then I sort of thought, it's all going to come back.
Well, you say that,
but it's not going to look the same.
It's not. I don't think it's going to look the same. I don't think it's going to feel the same.
But it'll have that Russell comfort to it.
It'll have that. I think the thing that'll carry through is the thing I mentioned with just the love.
Yeah.
He has just so much love and compassion. It's so human and grounded and relatable.
And you're going to have loads of other characters to fall in love with again.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like, because I know like we spoke about the possibility of would you like to see Wilf again, would you like to see Jack again, which we do, see Donna and all these characters. But what I'm looking forward to is in 15 years' time, hopefully sat down with somebody else going, do you think they'll bring such and such back from series 14?
That's the thing, like, we're about to get into the Moffat era and all kinds of new characters. We get, the Doctor, we got Amy, we get Rory, we get River Song for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Well, not River Song for the first time, but River Song proper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to, when we do... I feel like we're going to do a series, a ranking of the specials.
Are we?
Yeah.
Cool.
And then I would also like to do a ranking of the RTD seasons.
Okay.
Yeah, because I feel like I don't just want to end it.
No, you're not ready to go. You don't want to go.
I mean, I feel like I haven't... It's so hard to express how much I love this. Because, like...
This is, to me... This is Doctor Who.
Yeah.
This is the Doctor Who I grew up with.
When we started this podcast, I had the original goal was to get through all of Eccleston's episodes.
Yeah, which we did easily.
Because like part of me, because we've done projects before,
and they fizzle through pretty easily.
So I was like, if we can get through Eccleston, I'll be happy with that. And then we started Tennant. I was like, okay, now my goal is to get through all the RTD stuff. Now we've done that.
We've done that.
Yeah, so I kind of just want to see how far. So now I want to get through all the Smith stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I feel ready to. I know it's like. 3 series of Matt, the 50th, and then 3 series of... I feel like we can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, especially...
I look at it as Doctors rather than I'm looking to get to what we're watching on telly currently.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy to think of... I mean, when we started this over a year ago, I honestly didn't think we'd get here. I honestly thought, this is something we're going to do in lockdown, and it's going to be, a nice thing to keep us occupied, nice way to talk to Tim every week. The way that it's grown, I know it's not anything spectacular. I know it's not like huge numbers, but the fact that like we pull in 1,000 weekly viewers. Not even that, in 5 days, 1,000 viewers is far beyond anything
crazy,
I thought we'd ever do.
Yeah.
And
so vote for us in that award.
I mean, no, it's insane, and Doctor Who's just such a wonderful thing, isn't it?
It is, it really is, and I think... I don't know why we're saying it now, we're talking like Doctor Who's over, but it isn't.
It isn't, it's just begun.
Yeah, but like, the reception, like, obviously we get comments that are like, you're wrong and all this, but I generally love it when we get a comment that's such a cool idea, or a cool theory, or something like that, or when people just message us on Instagram and go, I really like the podcast. It's great, we generally love it.
Yeah.
So if you are listening, you are enjoying it, just leave a little fun comment, give us a suggestion of some episodes, I know we're doing that whole like and subscribe thing, but it's more like, I like it when I go on my phone, I can see the little notifications, and I can scroll through and I can read the comments and stuff like that. And
yeah.
Now and again, I'll send some to you and I'll be like, look at this jerk, or I'll be like, look at this really cool person, or it's lovely. What else is lovely, Harry? It's the quiz!
You, not me. I hate being patient. Patience is for wimps.
Whoa!
Okay, okay. We've got 4 questions here.
Okay.
I haven't wrote the questions, but I wrote the answers. I don't know what the question to answer number 3 is. So, okay, question number 1. What street is Donna on when the Master intercepts her phone call?
Bugger. I don't know, like, Bromwick Street.
Weswick Lane. What is the name of the diamond?
It's White Point Star.
Well done! 1 point.
Star.
What is the name of Donna's friend who she insults at her wedding?
Is that Natasha?
Neris.
Ah!
Okay, the answer I've got for the next one is impossible things, but I don't know what the question was.
This sounds like the seed planted for like a Moffat era episode. What are the impossible things?
Impossible things. What was that about?
I don't know.
Maybe if you know in the comments, do let us know. You got 1 out of. We'll give you 1 out of 3.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Pretty standard for me.
Anything to recommend, Harry?
Before I go, I just want to tell you were fantastic.
Yes. I'd like to recommend the BAFTA award-winning comedy series Staff Lets Flats.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It keeps popping up on my recommended thing.
I hadn't watched it for the longest
It's been a while since the what series are they on?
3. They've done 3 series.
There was quite a gap there, I feel, between 2. So I remember this being on like a while ago. And then I've seen it advertised again recently. I'm like, oh, that's still on or back.
Yeah, but basically, you don't get a lot nowadays in TV that you get a comedy that's just an out comedy where its main objective is to be funny and make you laugh. I mean, obviously the characters in it have a lot of heart. They're really lovable in their own weird ways, but it's a really funny show. I can't remember the last time, especially by the time you get to the 3rd series, that I've laughed so much. It's just a really funny show. It's just silly, out there. Just give a big recommend if you just want a really fun time.
Yeah, cool. I do want to watch it. Looks good. Channel 4 as well, right?
Yeah, it's Channel 4. It's on all 4. You can watch it for free.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is Channel 4 comedies tend to be bloody good. In between us, Friday night dinner.
Well, it's Robert Popper is a co-writer for the series.
Oh, fantastic.
He's not the creator. The main guy, Jamie
Peep
Demetrio,
Show as well.
I think is his name. Yeah.
I mean, Channel 4's brilliant. I love Channel 4. Friday night on Channel 4 is great.
Yeah.
Gogglebox, Last Leg.
Yeah.
I love that. That's like that was all my Fridays through lockdowns. I loved Friday because I loved watching those shows.
Yeah, totally.
What am I going to recommend? I'll tell you what. I did have something to recommend. Just completely escapes my mind. So I do have a backup. I'm just mumbling whilst I try and think of what the thing I actually wanted to recommend was. Have I been to the cinema recently? No. Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to recommend. What did I recommend last week? Recycling, and then you unrecommended The Eternals. I did. Well, what I'm going to recommend this week is the first half an hour of Red Notice.
What's Red Notice?
It's the Dwayne Johnson, Ryan Reynolds, Gal Gadot Netflix film.
Okay, why in the first half hour?
Because I've only seen the first half.
So the rest of it could be rubbish.
Well, I've been watching it when I go to the gym.
Okay.
So I watched, when I went last night, I watched half an hour while I was at the gym, while I was on like a cycling thing. Not a bike though, it's weird.
Like the cross trainer?
No, it's like you're sat in a chair like this and you pedal like this.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I watched half an hour of Red Notice while I was doing that. It was good, enjoyed it. Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds, The Rock being The Rock. I haven't seen Gal Gadot yet, she hasn't appeared.
Okay.
I enjoy it, it's good fun. I watched it sort of thinking, what's this going to be like?
I mean, is it like is it an action film? Is it a comedy film? What is it?
It's an action film with a bit of comedy from Ryan Reynolds.
Okay, he's the comic relief.
There is an opening. The opening half an hour is like basically like one huge action sequence.
Because it is the most expensive Netflix film project, isn't it?
Yeah. But like you've got to suspend disbelief watching it. You can't be like, oh, this action scene that would never happen, because it's just a fun daft.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not fun and daft as in like, oh, it's silly. You know, you just gotta go, yeah, I'm watching an action film. You can shut off watching it. Like, take your brain off and just indulge in it. It's really good fun.
Okay, cool.
There was something else I wanted to recommend that I cannot remember. Was it food? I can't remember. There was something I can't remember. Was it something I did over the weekend? I can't remember. Just have fun.
Have fun. Tim recommends having fun.
I tell you what, I think if people aren't happy doing like their job or something, then I think you should actively try and find a way to get into something that you do like.
Okay.
Yeah.
What brings this on?
Well, I was thinking about, because I was at work the other night and I was thinking how much I love my job. And it's getting to a point now where I sort of look at it and sort of think I've probably got a year left at this, because I want to move away from where we live to go do a master's elsewhere. Okay. And then eventually I want to do film as a job rather than photography.
Man, the sound quality's going to dip and move away.
So I sort of think, oh, what am I going to do? But I was like, at least I'm leaving a job that I really like to hopefully do a job that it's not like when I worked at Costa. Yeah. And I left Costa to work at Subway. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. To try and find something you enjoy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Indulge in the things you enjoy. That's what we've done with the podcast.
Yeah.
Because I remember when we started, I was like, because I wanted to do a podcast over lockdown. Yes. And I remember sort of going, what we're going to do a podcast about, a watch long would be fun. And then I was like, what do I want to watch loads of episodes of? And I couldn't think of anything. And at the time, I didn't really want to watch all of Doctor Who.
Did you not?
Nah. I was like, oh, we'll just do Doctor Who because I can talk about it and I know enough about it.
Yeah. God.
But then I've sort of learned to really love it again.
I'm thinking back to like those early episodes. I know this is like not like
episode
helpful.
1. I made a joke about Tom Baker dying whilst we were recording the episode.
He's still kicking.
Still here.
I'm not the kind of person to this is probably bad for a channel, but God, I'm bad in those early episodes. I'm really bad. I waffle so much. I'm trying so hard to sound intelligent and to sound like I have something meaningful to say, and I just step over myself so much.
No, I enjoy it. Hopefully we get some guests on. Yeah. I saw I can't remember the name, but it was MCM London, which is like their Comic-Con. Okay. And there was a Doctor Who podcast doing a panel there. Okay. And they had a friend of the show, Dominic Martin, on there. Who was
yeah, Dominic.
He appeared as a little guest, and I was like, oh, that looks so much fun. Yeah. So I'd like to do something like that. I think we've sort of spoken about it casually, that we'd like to do a panel or something. Yeah, I mean, not like as an ego thing. No, but just to talk to other people. And go, what do you think of this?
Yeah, to engage with the fan base a bit more directly.
Yeah, cool. Anything else, Harry? Do you want to shout out all the social media stuff?
Yeah, we are on YouTube, Spotify when it's working, Acast when it's... Oh, is Acast working? Yeah. Acast is working, iTunes when it's working. I'm guessing they're both fixed now. Yeah. They are both fixed now, so we're on all of those. We have a Twitter, we have an Insta, we don't have a Facebook because who would follow...
Facebook?
I use Facebook for memes. Yeah. That's it.
Follow us on Twitter is usually the best one. Yeah. Instagram's quite good for when we want your suggestions for stuff. Yeah. Twitter, we usually use that for polls and fill little facts and stuff like that. Yeah. Good fun.
It's good
also,
fun.
On YouTube, we use the community thing, which is where you can put little...
Oh, the community tab,
yeah. We recently unlocked that because of subscribers and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So go and check that out. Next week, Doctor Who Flux Series 4 talk and stuff. And... Specials ranking.
Yes.
And the 5 Doctors.
Yes, the 5 Doctors. Because it's the anniversary next week, isn't it?
It is 58 years old.
58 years.
It's almost as old as my dad. He's as old as my dad.
Wow, really?
Which my dad hates. I always say he's as old as Doctor Who. Which he hates. So, I'll say goodbye. Bye, everybody. Harry, do you want to say goodbye?
No, Tim. I don't want to go.
Make sure you subscribe to the official Bigger on the Inside podcast.